I have been very vocal on how tokenization will make many crypto holders extremely wealthy over the years. And I do think that we are at the point where tokenization is finally getting clear validation, but we're also starting to see the reason why tokenization will be so massive for assets like XRP, for networks like the XRP Ledger as well. Let's actually start off this video by looking at the XRP Ledger, and more so looking at the fact that we're still seeing a lot of growth here for assets on the network. Stablecoin market cap up 12+%. We just surpassed over $1 billion in stablecoin market cap. Over $4+ billion in represent asset value, about 322, almost 323 million in distributed asset value. The RWA count is pushing to over almost 400. I think that there's actually over 500, but RWA.xyz is a little bit slow to report that. But looking at things, I mean, we are seeing a lot of growth here for the XRP Ledger in terms of like tokenized asset value. And I think that we're still in the early phases of like some of these networks and what is possible. I keep looking at the actual value on chain. And again, I look at like what some of these networks are experiencing. Like right now, mainly Solana is like the major winner. But if we look at like the 60-day view here, these top chains, like these are the networks that you want to be focused on when it comes back to tokenization initiatives. I even include, stablecoins as well. And again, it doesn't really change the view too much. Like XRP is still a dominant name here. On the last 90 days, it's very clear. Again, including stablecoins, XRP is right there at the top next to some of the largest chains in the market. I keep looking at this though because of the fact that we have yet to see some of the biggest unlocks for tokenization. And we're about to see it, especially with names like the DTCC. But again, a lot of people are still kind of confused on exactly what tokenized assets are going to do for some of these networks or some of these assets. And I think that when we look at the growth here, like Evernorth has been very vocal about it. We talked about this recent announcement, how like adoption from every single side is showing up all at once on XRP. You have the, tokenized asset value going crazy, right? It's up like roughly 4x the size of the entire ETF market that XRP has. But demand for XRP is turning up at, 3 places all at once. You have the new wallets, the HTF and also RWAs. RWAs, I mean, they have been growing rapidly over like the last few months. And right now we have 500 plus products, which Evernorth is confirming here. So I could just imagine how much value there actually is, because again, we don't have that on chain right now. We only have 373 compared to like the 500 plus. But everything has been very bullish for XRP, which I've talked about in, a prior video. Obviously, adoption will continue to grow as the market starts to expand with institutional adoption, things like that. But I look at like, all right, well, tokenization is the clearest view on like why the value of these assets will go up rapidly. And I keep seeing questions in the comments about like, what are like we going to see with these tokenized assets? Like what's really going on with, the tokenized value? And I really kind of point to the RWA 30-day transfer volume. And although, yes, it's down right now on the XRP Ledger, if we look at the actual market, we can see the transfer volume here only. You can't really see like the total value of the transfer volume itself, but you can see the transfer volume specifically, and you could see how much capital is tied back to this. If you include stablecoins, that's where you start to see like the big picture, because obviously in terms of like stablecoins, this is where you start to see like trillions of dollars. And if you include everything all at once, you could see a little bit of a clearer view on like how things are still kind of slow compared to like prior times in the market. I do think that we'll get back to that in a much larger way. I really wish that there was a transfer volume chart like we see even on the XRP Ledger. As you guys can see, like you could see pretty much everything here in terms of like including stablecoins. And if you go to like the all-time chart, you could see, this a little bit more clearer. But the reason why I bring that up is because like, yes, assets that are tokenized on the network will start to be transferred. You'll start to see that moving every single day. And Evernorth kind of put a spotlight on this, because we have here that most people do nothing with their money. It just sits there. And this is from Ashish Birla. He's talking about idle capital and how it's a missed opportunity in finance and what's putting it to work on chain, how that's going to look. So check this video clip out. And then there's a few other ones that I also want to play and really kind of talk about.
Most folks that have digital assets today, even stable coins, don't do anything with them. They are idle. Actually, like what I learned is that most people that have US dollar balances don't do anything with
It
them
just sits in
either.
their bank
It
account.
just
Yeah.
sits in their bank account. So this idea of like idle capital, like I don't think you can think of many digital trillion-dollar asset classes where the majority of people do nothing with that asset class. It's just buy and hold. And that's not what we want to facilitate at Evernorth. We want to actually be the companies that are helping you put that to work in a safe and effective manner. And so, that can be everything from building out these new lending protocols to actually like creating the right kind of real-time risk engine so that we can price the lending markets in real time. We want to take the friction out of putting all your capital to work, starting with digital assets at the beginning, but as more and more assets get tokenized, putting those to work as well. So this idea of idle capital should go away. Like we should all feel optimized, but it shouldn't feel like a lot of work to you. It shouldn't feel a lot of work to the corporates.
Hmm.
It should just happen in the background. And I
Yeah.
think like that's how you create like a very vibrant ecosystem that's a good product experience. And I don't think we're that far off.
And even now, like if we think about, idle cash or idle, money on chain, like we don't want that to be a repeat here with tokenized assets, which comes to the next thing here, which is the framework. The dollar is on chain, or the dollar is the on ramp. XRP is where that value can move. Stablecoins get people on chain, but you need something to trade, lend, and build against once they're there. And again, we think about that and we look at like, all right, well, what's the next phase here? Well, number one, stablecoins are starting to, become a real thing. I think that stablecoin adoption around the world should be a main thing that we focus on. Like the United States has the Genius Act and state licensing. On top of that, we also have the European Union with MiCA. Also, the United Kingdom, they have a dual track stablecoin regime. Also, Singapore, Monetary Authority of Singapore stablecoin framework. The UAE, multi-regulator approach. Also, Japan, bank issued stablecoins. Hong Kong, stablecoins ordinance. Brazil, central bank resolutions. Bermuda, early mover framework. And these are just like some of the areas that have like a ton of stablecoin like regulations in place that's enabling stablecoins to move on chain in these key areas around like the euro, around the yen, the pound, things like that. And then like you can start to see FX becoming a reality on chain. But again, when you bring people on chain with, stablecoins, it's not just about payments. It's also, when you have this type of value on chain, like what do you want to do with that? And this is where we start to see that really kind of, addressed from Ashish Burla's, point of view. Check it out.
Technology is one aspect of it, but what else do you need? You need commercialization. So it means you need people to integrate this into the real world, into financial institutions. I think Ripple does a fabulous job of that. But then you also need, if you talk about the on-chain economy, you also need a lot of liquidity on-chain as well.
Yeah.
And statistics have shown that you really can't have a vibrant on-chain, liquidity market without having US dollars and a solid US dollar pair. And some folks are going to use Tether. In some markets, if you want institutional grade, I think RLUSD is that institutional grade US dollar stablecoin. So that's how it's sort of your on-ramp, but it's also your base pair for so many liquidity pairs that you want once more and more assets become tokenized on-chain.
And to build on that, we have why sell your assets to buy a house when you could borrow against them, tokenize them, and posting stock as collateral for a dollar loan could become as straightforward as familiar lending products. Again, we're starting to see the whole environment around stablecoins, around tokenized assets opening up and showing you exactly what's possible with these assets on chain. That's why like everyone that's saying like, oh, well, tokenized assets aren't going to do anything for the price of XRP. They will, because we're seeing a completely new world of finance opening up on chain on these networks that were pretty much the first movers around tokenization anyways. Check this out.
And guess what? If like the collateral metrics change, I can real time balance and post more with with AI and a smart contract. That's not possible today. And so that's what I mean is like, hey, step one is issuing these new kinds of assets. But if you can't do anything with them, it's sort of boring. I'm more interested in enabling that next order of use cases, lending against them, posting them as collateral, repo markets coming on chain. That's exciting to me. I think that's where we're excited to head as well at Evernorth.
And yeah, he's right. Like tokenized assets just sitting on chain, it's boring. It's not going to do much at all for the underlying networks. You want to see that network effect really become a reality. And that's when you start to see that asset, that those tokenized asset values start to be traded against, lent against, borrowed against. Like that's what you want to see in this market. You don't want to just see idle capital on chain. You don't want to just see assets sitting there on chain. That's where you start to see the actual network effect that leads to XRP being worth like $50 a piece or $100 a piece. Like that's where you start to see that network effect become enabled. And we even have down here that institutions aren't kicking the tires anymore. They're hiring crypto teams and building. Check this out.
We've always been waiting, like, when's this inflection point going to happen? I remember coming out, we're here in New York City. I remember coming out maybe 10 years ago and meeting with financial institutions, and they were saying they were looking for reasons to say no. And if you get them to say yes, they would commit to a proof of concept. A pilot, which is like, like that, those words are just
pilots,
like,
yeah.
bring up all sorts of PTSD for me. But like now, I was at a breakfast this morning with a fairly large institution, and they've already hired a team of crypto experts. They are ready to go. That is a very different sort of, posture than it was 10 years ago. And I was actually quite blown away at how fast they wanted to move. So this is not an experiment for them anymore. They're building teams around it. They're building infrastructure. They're talking about custody of assets, which, I welcome. But they want to be part of this future. And they're looking for partners to help them take them into this future. So that's night and day. And I mean, you definitely hear about it through the process. But to see the pulse firsthand here in New York City, I think is surprising.
And last but not least, the adoption metrics keep building. This is the conviction and how to see past the day-to-day noise. Check it out.
I think if you're going to be in blockchain space for this long, I think you got to look at the long term.
Yeah.
And you got to like really ground yourself on why you even joined this. Otherwise, you look at the daily fluctuations and you sort of get discouraged. But look at all the good that's going to happen once you put these financial products in the hands of people around the world. So like dig deep into your mission, and hey, this is the time, like, have conviction. Like the metrics are, up and to the right. This is happening. This is unfolding before us. But if you read the headlines every day, you might get a different story. So make sure you have that long-term viewpoint and stick to your mission, throughout this whole journey.
And yeah, I mean, listen, the fundamentals are stacking on chain. And imagine like, everything being tokenized. Like just imagine stocks being tokenized completely and having everyone have access to those tokenized assets on chain. Like this is where we start to see like the much larger picture for like the large network effect become a reality. Even Ashish Birdla stated this back on June 16th. I talked about it in a video. Like everyone's talking about the tokenization push, but like once those assets are on chain, you could start to build other products. And that's exactly what he's even saying here. Like once an asset is on chain, you can snap it together with others like Legos and build products that don't exist. The biggest enabler of that is the lending protocol. And it's starting to grow on chain right now. Like you could track this on chain in terms of like the consensus. We were at 20 recently. We're now at 25, almost 26. We're getting closer to this being enabled. And once this is enabled, the DeFi space around this tokenized value, which we have $4.3 billion right now. We have a $1 billion stablecoin market cap on the network. XRP is becoming, like in terms of the actual network, it's becoming more and more liquid. We're starting to see more and more assets on chain, more and more asset value. And this is going to start to snowball once you start to have the lending protocol and DeFi protocols being built around the XRP ledger, which we already have, DeFi protocols. All we're waiting for is the lending protocol to go live to enable lending and borrowing, which is the largest category in terms of DeFi. I think that a lot of people are just looking at the tokenized value and they're like, all right, well, we already have $4.3 billion on chain. Like, why is XRP not going up in value? Well, number one, it's a very small piece, compared to the actual value of XRP. So we're not going to see like $4.3 billion, pump XRP. We need a lot more capital on chain and on the network to really kind of, lead to that, which I do think that we'll get there. Again, I think the craziest thing that people don't understand is you look at some of these other networks, like for example, Solana, because Solana is getting a whole bunch of asset value tokenized. Look at the tokenized value compared to the RWA 30-day transfer volume. This is up 88%, almost $9 billion. Again, this is a network effect brewing for Solana. I do think that Solana will do very good. The craziest thing here is like we are seeing crazy amounts of value moved over Solana. That's what we want to see for XRP. Right now, the value is rising for tokenized value and for stablecoin value, but the 30-day transfer volume is not doing too much at all. In fact, it's actually down over the last 30 days. But once you start to see, major things being enabled, like DeFi, products being built around these assets, and we start to see the lending protocol go live, and you start to see people, tapping into like the liquidity pools and stuff, that's when we start to see a massive network effect, brew for XRP. And that's what I'm very excited, for. And I think that that's exactly what Ashish Birla is seeing here as well. Like he's even saying, like, once you have that value on chain, it's kind of boring. You want to enable products around that value. And we're getting there. We're getting there. I know that the lending protocol has been taking a lot of time, but this is like the last key piece of the puzzle. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely like, subscribe, turn notifications on because there's more free content. You guys are more than follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.